All right, well, welcome to the Ireland 10-day Grand Tour presentation. My name's Diana. I am with Travel Avidly. I'm the director, and Jim here is the founder and CEO. We've been doing this for a while. Got a good number of trips under our belt. We specialize in small group trips. And here's a little bit about why we're different. Like I said, we specialize in small group trips. Usually that's 8 to 15 people. We average right around 10 or 12. This is actually a picture just from a couple of weeks ago, the tour in Scotland that I led. So you can see we had 5 people, and then this was our guide, Skaba, in the front, and he was fantastic. And so, yeah, so we really want people to feel like they're traveling with a group of friends. That's kind of our goal. Developing long-term friendships. We have a lot of people who live apart, they live across the country from each other. They become friends on a trip, and then they keep coming on trips with us. They go on 2 or 3 trips a year with us. So it tells you a lot about the friendships that develop and a lot about our company, that people do like to come back. We curate our trips with local operators in each destination, so that you're going to get a really cool, unique experience. You're never going to feel like you're 40 on a bus. And we have things like, we had dinner in Istanbul. We had dinner at our tour operator's mother's home. She and his sisters made dinner for us, which was fantastic and very unique, and definitely an experience that you don't get in with a lot of other companies. Most of our trips, if they're not all inclusive, they're sort of mostly inclusive, but we try to be very transparent in our pricing. Activities, admissions, many meals are included. And we also line it out. This trip is a little bit complicated. There are a lot of optional excursions. We want to have a trip where anybody can join. And so if someone wants to do a lot more active things, they want to do the kayaking, they want to do the horseback riding, they want to do the extra stuff, they have that opportunity. But for people who mostly want to sightsee, they want to enjoy kind of walking along the coastline, a slightly gentler version of the trip, they can also do that too and still have a really great time. So if you register for this trip, I'd love to say when, but I will say if, then you'll get a questionnaire from us, and that will actually have everything lined out. So if you want any of the optional excursions, what they each cost, so that it's all very clear to you and you don't get any surprise bills later. We try to be, like I said, very transparent in our pricing. We have a focus on learning. We do set up pre-trip meetings before each tour. We try to do 2 or 3 of them. We talk about the history, the culture. If there's a language, we'll learn a few of the words, to sort of how to be polite mostly, so that we're not the ugly Americans when we show up for a tour. And it's also a great way if you're looking for a roommate. Let me admit, we have another person. If you're looking for a roommate, then this is a great way to meet the other travelers. Hi, Sherry, welcome. We just got started a couple minutes ago. We are recording this, so I'm happy to send you a recording when we're done, so you can see the first couple minutes. But talking about right now the pre-trip meetings that we offer. So like I said, this is a great way to meet potential roommates, and just to meet the other travelers, so that when you land, you already know these people. You've already hung out, you know who you're going to kind of get along with, especially, and you've got a good feel for your companions. One of the best things about our company, which is not very sexy sounding, but it's actually really great, is that we do have the flexible pricing. So you have an option to put 15% down with monthly payments until, as long as you're paid in full by 90 days out. There's no charges, there's no interest. So it's actually cheaper to do this than to put it on a credit card. We won't charge you any interest. There's no hidden fees. We just split up your total into that many months payments. And then, then you're put on an auto payment. So it's a great way to make travel more accessible and affordable for people. So yes, without further ado, let's talk about Ireland. So day 1 of the trip, we depart the US for Ireland. And then on day 2, we'll arrive in Dublin mid-morning around 11 or 12 usually. So we'll go ahead, get our baggage to our hotel and store it there. So we try to get an early check-in, but sometimes that's not possible. But either way, we'll definitely have a really great lunch at an Irish pub, because I love Irish pubs. And I'll be the tour leader, so we'll have lots of pub experience, fish and chips for all. And then we'll do a walking tour of Temple Bar, the historical area in downtown Dublin. And it's a pretty relaxing day. This is also a time for people, if they do want to rest and relax, they're not going to miss anything major. And then we'll get together and have dinner at a local restaurant that evening. I am very much a foodie, so I always try to pick places that are, that offer something kind of cool, something kind of different. We really, we try always to do small family-owned restaurants. We stay away from big chains. I love to get something, get good authentic meals from wherever it is we are. If it's a great taco truck in Oaxaca, or if it's a fancy little, restaurant in the back alleys of Tokyo, we try to find those really cool places where, again, you couldn't even fit in if there were 40 of you. So we try to make sure that everyone has really cool opportunities that they don't get in with other companies. So here's briefly a map of our route. So you can kind of see where we go. We start in Dublin. We go to Galway, Cliffs of Moher, then down to Dingle, the Skellig Islands. We go to Cork on our last day, last couple days, and then back to Dublin. So the van is actually going the wrong direction there. It's not very helpful, but we actually go this way, and Cork is toward the end of the trip. But it gives you a nice idea of kind of where you're headed. Which takes us then to kind of our first official day, which is actually kind of day 3 because of our arrival and all of that, from the time we leave to arrive to then here. So we will leave Dublin and we'll go to Galway, and it's known as as you can see, this trip has this slideshow has a lot of information. I'm happy to send it to you, forward it on to you, because there's a lot of information, even more so than what's on our website. And so it's a lot of data, and I don't want to read it. I'm not going to just read it all to you, but the pictures are fun, and this is also a great time for you to ask any questions. And Sherry, I know since you joined a little bit late, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and then Jim will answer them as they come up, because I can't see questions when I am in the full screen mode. So we're going to, this is, the Cliffs of Moher is super cool. They're amazing looking. They're over 700 feet high. And so that we're going to be able to see at the very, very beginning of our trip. That night, we'll be staying in the Armada Hotel Clare. And so we're working with this small company, and they have all of the hotels set up. They're all, locally owned, non-chained. A lot of them are family owned. And almost all of them are right on the coastline when we're on the coast, which is really, really cool. So you'll have, in the evenings, it's a great time to just walk along the beach, and so you'll have some free time to do that, especially in the evenings. But this is a really, really beautiful one. And the food here, the dinner is going to be really, really special because everything is locally sourced, which is mostly true for all the places we stay in, but this place especially has really, really delicious dinners. Day 4 is one of my favorites because I love sheep farms. And so we'll have a sheep farm tour. And then you've got, like I mentioned, there are a lot of options. So then you can go for a hike, you can take a surfing class, get some surfing lessons in. Who knew you could go surfing in Ireland? Or you can do, this hike, which is a kind of a steep hike. This is going to be for people who do want have a little more energy, want a little higher activity level. Or you can just go hang out in Dingle and walk around the town. It's a beautiful, charming little town, lots of pubs. So this is, this afternoon, we'll have people kind of split up and do the things that they want to do. But we'll all visit the sheep farm together. And that's going to be really fun. You'll get to meet the dogs that they work with, as well as, get to hang out with the sheep, and they'll explain how they train the dogs, especially, which is what I find really fascinating. My dogs are so not this kind of behaved. Although my beagle's not bad, but I wouldn't put him in the room with sheep. That night we'll stay in Dingle, the Dingle Skellig Hotel. This is, again, right on the shore. This is one of the larger places, but it is still privately owned. It's not a massive chain, but it is really hard to get places here. And so working with a company that has all of these contacts is fantastic. And so you'll be able to stroll along the waterside to just kind of, as it says, to unwind, to relax, because this is going to be a very active day.
Let me say most of the available tour options in Ireland don't even let you stay in the Dingle Peninsula, because it's just so busy they can't get reservations. And it's more expensive. They just move on.
We've got great places.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, I got it.
No worries. No worries. So then we're going to enjoy initially a really beautiful drive. And then you've got, again, back to several options. This is where if you're a golfer, you can do some golfing, you can go horseback riding. There's a boat trip. So this is really almost a choose your own adventure sort of Ireland trip. let me admit another person. So it's, yeah, a choose your own adventure. I think we should change the name just to choose your own adventure, because you really have that opportunity. You can do the sea kayaking, you can do a rowing experience. And so, yeah, you can really choose what you want to do, but then every morning you wake up, you have breakfast with the group, we do our day, every evening we have dinner together. So it is a really cool combination to me. So yeah, the next day, day 6, is the bike tour. This is not, hours and hours. It's a couple of hours. It's really, really cool. It's beautiful, but it's not, you don't have to be in amazing shape. But it is really, really a fun bicycle trip. I'm a huge fan of bicycle tours. I've done them in Paris. I've done them in London. I was actually south of London last week, and I went along the coastline. And so I'm a big fan of bicycle trips. And so I try to incorporate them when we can, without making it again into something where you have to have done, any bicycle racing in your life. This is just a fun ride through a really, really beautiful area. And then we'll go off-road on the 4x4. So we'll get some really, really beautiful panoramic views, go up to the Ring of Kerry. And so, yeah, this will be a nice combination, again, doing a little bit of activity, but also some nice leisurely walking around with some really beautiful vistas of Killarney National Park. And that night we'll stay in Moorings Guest House. And so this overlooks the village's harbor. There's lots of great little restaurants, lots of little shops to go shopping in the afternoon if you want some time to do some souvenir shopping. It's a really, really nice, and it's owned by this family. So it is, again, independently owned, and we always try to support independently owned companies, restaurants, hotels anytime that we can. But this will just be, it's right in the middle of the town, and so it's a really great place to stay. All right, day 7. All right, time for a boat tour, because you can't go to Ireland and not get on a boat. So we'll do the island boat tour, and so we'll go through the Skellig Islands. It is weather dependent because this is through the summer, so we'll talk about it ahead of time. We'll know where we're going, but sometimes we can stop off on the island, sometimes we can't. It sort of depends. And for people who do get seasick, if the water's super, super crazy that day, then you can, you can go on a hike on Valentia Island. So we'll play this one by ear as far as what the weather is doing. And then this evening, we'll actually get to go and listen to some traditional Irish music, which is, again, to me, this trip is really cool because we get such a nice blend of cultural stuff of, with the sheep herding, the traditional music. You also get the active stuff, you get the nature. It's a really, really nice mix of activities that we get to do for this trip. And then we stay in the Coachman's Townhouse Hotel. And so this is the Jones family. It's been owned for generations. And they have this particular place, again, trying to keep a balance of everything. They're known for their Irish whiskey. So we'll get to try some Irish whiskey, have a bit of a tasting, nothing formal, but we'll definitely get to try, share, get a bit of an education while we're there. And again, while we're listening to the music. Day 8 is the Beara Peninsula. So we're going into West Cork at this point. And so we'll do some walking today. We'll go through the ancient stone circle. And then this is kind of up high. So you're actually going to get to see this beautiful view from up high. It's just a really, really beautiful place. And we'll get to, have a lot of outdoor time. This is a beautiful time of year. The weather should be nice. And so this is a day mostly where we will get to do some walking around and have a little bit of free time as well. Here, we're not sure yet which hotel. That's always going to be one of these two. And so we'll stay either in Guggenberra or Macroom Castle. Castle Hotel. So a little bit of information about both of them. They're both beautiful. They're both quite really nice places to stay. And we'll have, if we stay in the first, you'll have either the lake view, the lake view or the mountain view, depending. So you'll have a beautiful view outside your window, no matter what. And then I don't know if I mentioned this, we'll have breakfast every morning at our hotel before we start the day. And then day 9, we're getting to the end of the trip. We'll go to Blarney Stone. Obviously, you've got to go and kiss Blarney Stone for good luck. And then you'll also get to walk around the castle gardens. This is included. And we'll get to go through a hike through the forest park. Again, just really, really exceptionally beautiful at an exceptionally beautiful time of year to be doing this. And then we'll also go to the monastic side of Rock of Cashel and be able to do a self-guided tour. We won't have a guide here, but you'll have information. We'll walk through it together, kind of self-paced, without having to, without a lot of structure. So we'll have a little bit of free time here to kind of walk around slowly, leisurely. So we do have the optional 3-day post trip to Dublin and Belfast. This will include a food tour of Dublin. Sorry to change gears really fast like that. A cooking class or a dinner party, depending on what people want to do. The dinner party is fun because you get to just watch everything be prepared. But if people want to actually, participate, then we'll do the cooking class. We'll learn how to make Irish soda bread and a special kind of soup, an Irish soup. So pretty low bar stuff, but still really fun. I love Irish soda bread. I would have it every week if I could. And then we'll do a tour of a fisherman's village to kind of walk around a small village that is not very touristy. And then we'll go up to Belfast for a full 1-day tour, go to Giant's Causeway. The Belfast Black Taxi tour, and then go to the castle as well. So we'll
Let me interject something. Northern Ireland is totally different than the Republic of Ireland, just in every imaginable way. It's a lot less developed, of course, except for Belfast. And in Belfast, if you want to see Belfast, the way to do it, I don't think the only way, is one of those big London type black taxis that take you around. They're famous, they're well known. They take you around to the places that I don't know how to put this, places that you would not be able to go with unless you were in a Belfast black taxi. So we'll be getting a really good taste of Belfast, but it's a unique place. Everybody ought to go.
All right, so this will be, like I said, this will be broken down on the questionnaire. When you register for the trip, you can sort of think about each of these, but just so you could sort of glance and see kind of a price range for some of the extras, where if you want to do one of the extras, these are some of the costs. Again, we didn't want to incorporate everything because we really want this to be open to all activity levels. So it makes the trip a little more complicated than some of our other trips where everything is just included, but this could add up. But if you want to do the extra activities, they're definitely worth it. They're good prices for what we're doing. So you can glance at this. I'm not going to go through it all again, since I went through it during the presentation, but it'll be broken down on the questionnaire with an explanation about each thing so that you can evaluate and decide what you would like to participate in. I myself will not be doing the surfing lesson. In case anybody's wondering, I do not surf. I don't paddleboard. I'm doing good to just stand on like level land, and I don't do anything that's moving under me, except I love boats. I do love hanging out on boats, but not where I can like fall in the water all that easily. But I will support you and cheer for you from the beach while you're doing any surfing exercises or activities. I will definitely cheer, and I won't laugh if you fall in, or at least not very loudly. So a little bit, now we'll get to the pricing page. Like I mentioned, the cost for double occupancy, single upgrade, that just means if you want to have a room to yourself for every night. Some people have questions about what that means. The post-trip tour, again, double occupancy, $1,095. If you want a room by yourself for those few nights, $1,395. And for the post-trip tour, that does not include meals except for breakfast. And then the dinner party is included in that. And then lunches and dinners will be separate. Will be on your own. We'll be having dinner together, but paying for it separately. So as far as the big trip goes, you've got, we will help you arrange all of your flights. We try to make it so we all are leaving from the same place, or at least kind of group it in so people can travel together if they want. We're happy to help set that up. This is a very much off the beaten track adventure. I think I'm going to go with choose your own adventure kind of trip for this. And then, so we'll arrive in Dublin. We have an expert travel guide, tour guide through the entire trip. It's the same guide. They're very knowledgeable. And so any questions you have about the history, the culture, why do you do it this way? How do you say this? How do you, in Gaelic, all of that stuff will be covered. 8 nights accommodation included, all the breakfasts, most of the daily activities. If we have a very full itinerary, then if you want to do extras, then we'll have those extra costs set out for you. Includes the entrance into the gardens, the castle, all of that stuff. And again, obviously the working sheep farm experience and the ferry tickets. I think I've gone over everything. If there are questions, I will Here's, if you want to take a screen, grab a screenshot. This is my email address, diana@travelavidly.com. Jim's is jim@travelavidly.com. Like I said, I'll be leading this trip, so I'm happy to answer questions as they come up. It's a fantastic trip and it's one of my favorites, and I'm super, super excited to be leading it.